In 2013, this body, on a unanimous basis of both chambers, passed a first-in-the-nation Trust Act, an act which set parameters by which law enforcement in our state and local police forces, would work with or abide by requests from Immigration and Customs Enforcement with respect to the federal government's authority and responsibility for enforcing immigration policy. Mr. Speaker, since 2013, there have been documented numerous instances in which that law has had some loopholes exposed in it, and it is time that we as a body update, amend, and tighten that law. Mr. Speaker, the bill before us essentially does several things. First, it prohibits law enforcement from detaining someone solely on the basis of a civil immigration detainer. A civil immigration detainer is an administrative warrant issued by an executive branch agency, a federal executive branch agency, ICE, without the signature of a judge and without necessary due process protections of law. This bill would fix that, would amend the statute, and require that an ICE detainer, in order for someone to be held past the time in which they would otherwise be entitled to release from custody, must be signed by a judge, accompanied by a judicial warrant, which has proper due process protections of law. The rationale for this bill is simple, that everyone in our country is entitled to proper due process of law. That has been firmly established by the Supreme Court, and folks should not fear of being held past the time in which they would otherwise be entitled to release from custody without probable cause and without a judicial warrant. The second key thing that this bill does, Mr. Speaker, is it extends those that are covered by the Trust Act to certain individuals who are not covered under the original act, most particularly probation officers. Under the initial version of the bill in 2013, prohibition officers were excluded from the definition of law enforcement. This would close that loophole. This bill also tightens up the limits on state and local law enforcement sharing information with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And it also provides for sharing of information back to the Office of Policy and Management, so that this legislative body and the public at large can better track and monitor coordination with ICE and make sure that we react accordingly as a legislative body.